Welcome, everyone. Well, it's time for another travel conversation. And this time, I am extremely lucky to have with us Vicky Lubyk from Paul Gaugin Cruises. So we are going somewhere tropical and warm and to a place I wish I was at now, which I'm sure many of you will as well, which they would be. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Vicky, who's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and then we'll delve into some questions. Thank you, Vicky.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Yes, so I've been with Paul Gaugin Cruises now in Western Canada for the last 11 years. But prior to that, I represented other cruise lines as well. For about 17 years before that, I worked in a travel agency. So I've been in the industry for almost 40 years. I have been working mostly with luxury cruise lines and cruised on many, many different cruises, over 70 cruises myself. Loved every single one of them, but there's something really special about French Polynesia and just the difference of being on a small little vessel like this. So I represent Paul Gaugin Cruises, the MS Paul Gaugin in French Polynesia. We are one ship that sails into Tahiti year round.
That's awesome. And how big, tell me a little bit about the ship itself, the types of people that you would find traveling on this, and the size of the ship and so forth.
Yeah, good. So the ship is actually, it's almost 20,000 tons. Actually, the size of our ship is really the secret to our success. We've been in Tahiti for more than 20 years. We're large enough to offer a luxury experience with being 20,000 tons, but small enough to get close into the destination. So I have a poster behind me you can see. If you look at a large ship in Tahiti, you'll never see them this close into the islands. The ship was actually purposely built for French Polynesia, so it has a shallow draft. The draft is more or less the amount of ship underneath the water. And it gives us the ability to get up close over the lagoons and right into the destination like this. Now, Jen, you asked me about the type of guests that travel with us. Really, it has absolutely nothing to do with age. People always try and get me to pinpoint it to, is this right for 20-year-olds or 90-year-olds? It's much more about this being a bucket list destination, just lovely, calm, quiet, inspirational, and like I said, a bucket list destination that people aspire to go to. So we get all different ages, all different types of people. I would say one thing that our guests pretty much all have in common is they're pretty laid back. They want luxury, and they get that in terms of the food and the service, but no formal nights or dressing up. So you don't have to bring a gown and a tuxedo to Tahiti. You get the best food and the best service without having to get all fussed up worrying about dress codes and formal nights and that sort of thing. So laid back luxury.
Sorry, do you, what about children? Do you find you have a lot of children?
Yeah, you know what, we don't. We allow children year round. Typically when we see children is July and August and December. And in those months, we do have a kids program for 7 through 17-year-olds. And it's a hands-on interactive learning program where they do all kinds of activities on board the ship and learn about all kinds of things and crafts and different sort of activities with folks on board the ship. And then we used to include excursions, but now what we do is we open it up so they can go on the excursions with their family instead. So our kids program has no cost to it. The rest of the year we allow children, but we don't usually see a lot of kids. What often we'll get, because we have third person is free always year round. If it's a child, there's no cost. So often we see triples, like a single child traveling with 2 parents, that kind of thing. But not as many as you'd see with a lot of other cruise lines for sure.
So now, Paul Gaugin and the safety protocols, what has been done now differently to last year?
Right. Well, I think one of the things worth mentioning is we're also owned by Ponant. They are our parent company. It's Ponant. And they have 12 vessels that they sail with worldwide as well. And up until the COVID, or in March of this year, we had no cases ever on board the ship or any of the Ponant ships. So it just talks to the I think a small ship and the high level of protocols that we had in advance anyways. But since then, what we've done is we've adapted them. We actually have a video too that I'll share with you, Jenny, that you can share with people if they ask about it. But it's a double standard of protection. So it's testing of everyone before they get on board the ship, and then periodic testing of guests once they're on board as well. Some things have changed in terms of, we used to always include the snorkel gear, so the masks and the fins. So now we have the fins, but we're suggesting to people that you want to bring your own mask rather than, they were always disinfected or whatever, but we're just sort of suggesting you probably don't want to use other people's masks right now. We had a buffet. Personally, I don't think it was ever going to be an issue because it was small plates of food. Typically a waiter would put it on your plate and then bring your plate to a table for you, but we've adapted that. So right now it's all ordering off a menu. Tahiti itself right now, you need to have a COVID test within 3 days of your flight. And as soon as you arrive at the airport, there is a test that they give you, a self-test that you do within 4 days. So if you're on the ship, after 4 days, you submit it to the ship, or if you're in a resort or a property, you hand it to them and you're tested within 4 days as well. So it's kind of like the CLIA, the cruise line industry, and the World Health Organization. Anything they have recommended, we've duplicated it tenfold just to ensure the safety of guests while they're on board.
That's wonderful. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, let's talk about now, let's go into the best time of the year. And I mean, every time of the year is great, but what is the best time of the year? And then lead into what kinds of itineraries that Paul Gaugin.
Yeah, you're right. We're year-round destination. The biggest thing and we're always warm. So it's 27 to 30 degrees every day. The difference is humidity. So typically from about the end of November till about the end of February, we get more rain. And what would happen would be it's beautiful all day, and then you'll get a 45-minute torrential rain, and then it's beautiful for a couple of days, and then you get a little bit more rain in that rainier season. It's unusual to get day after day of rain, but it's not impossible. So I always kind of say to people, if it's if you come from a destination where you happen to get a fair amount of rain, keep in mind it's tropical, right? So the chances of getting some rain during rainy season is quite likely. So if it's going to spoil your entire vacation to get some rain, then kind of avoid that time of year. Maybe think of April till October. And the likelihood is that you won't see rain at that time. But always warm. Even the ocean is 27 degrees year round. I was on one year where we had a couple of days in a row of rain, and pretty much everyone was just saying it was still warm, and it's not snowing, so it's all good. Right? Liquid sunshine.
And then you've got, Paul Gaugin has a few different itineraries.
Yeah, so yeah, everything we do is kind of based on a 7-day itinerary that we start off in Papeete. And Papeete is the economic center. It is where all the international flights fly into. And we always include that Air Tahiti Nui flight, usually out of Los Angeles. United Airlines also flies out of San Francisco that we can offer as well. And it's an 8 to 8.5 hour flight from Los Angeles or San Francisco to Tahiti. And then we sail the next day to an island called Huahine, and Huahine has the most archaeological sites. Then we sail to Motu Mahana, which is our own private island. We have 2 private beach retreats that no one else ever goes to. So Motu Mahana, we have a lavish barbecue, and Gaugins, who are our ambassadors on board the ship, the Tahitian ambassadors, they greet you when you arrive. They're your hostesses. They make it an authentic Polynesian experience. They're with us in Motu Mahana as well, and doing crafts, like teaching guests how to tie a pareo or cultivate a pearl, or all different kinds of authentic Polynesian types of things that they do. Even the performances that they do are authentic dance. Singing and dancing type of performances that they have on board the ship. So that's Motu Mahana. The water there, as I said, 27 degrees year round. You can walk out into the ocean for 15 minutes, and you're up to your chest in bath water, warm, crystal clear water. It's an absolute highlight. Yeah. So then after that, we go to Bora Bora. And if you've never been to Tahiti, or you've pictured it, you've probably dreamed of the destination. In your mind, you're probably thinking of Bora Bora and Moorea. And Bora Bora is one of the most romantic places on earth. They say that the ocean has a painter's palette of blues. So as you look out into the ocean, you can see all different colors of blue. Very romantic, beautiful beaches. And we also have our own private retreat in Bora Bora, where we have um, uh, just a sand and trees in a bar. That's really it. Just a beautiful, beautiful beach day. And then on to Moorea, which is, again, like I said, iconic. James Michener's book that he wrote, The Tales of the South Pacific, that was, when he speaks about Bali High, that was based on Moorea, and it has 8 beautiful mountain peaks, very lush, beautiful, beautiful white sand beaches. So everything we kind of do, we sort of build on from that 7-day quintessential Tahiti itinerary. That's like our trademark itinerary. So from there, we sail to the Tuamotus, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about Tuamotus just because we're going to talk about diving, right? Yeah. So Tuamotus is definitely a great destination for divers. We sail into the Tuamotus on a 10 or an 11-day itinerary. And then we also have the Cook Islands, which are, again, beautiful white sand beaches, great swimming, underwater life, as well as, or marine life, as well as lots of things to do on land. And then the Marquesas, and the Marquesas are really quite different because they have a rugged coastline. And so not great beaches actually in the Marquesas, but they're very wild and rugged and lush, 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 very mountainous, more wild horses than people. And they have their own ecosystem. So there's plants and animals that only live in the Marquesas. So they're unique that way as well. So each of these itineraries kind of will charm you in a different way. And then one last itinerary we do is either a 12 or 13 night itinerary that we sail from Papeete to Fiji. And so there you go across the international date line, 4 different archipelagos into Tonga, which is, Tonga was actually the only destination in the South Pacific that wasn't colonized by Europeans. So it has its own monarchy. So if anyone's a bucket list destination collector, it's a big deal to go to Tonga.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So then moving on, because I know my husband is a big diver. I'm not, I'm a snorkeler. So tell us about, and you did mention with the Tuamotus with the diving, how does the diving work on board for all of those people that are interested? And especially now if snorkeling, everybody's got to bring their own mask. What's happening with the diving moving forward?
Yeah, no, we still include everything with the diving. So all of our dives we're PADI certified, and all of our dives have a professional dive master that travels with you on the dives. And each is skilled in ensuring that you're comfortable and also helping you to have the best experience. So because of course they've done it every week, week after week, and they'll help you to seek out kind of the most rewarding places and areas to dive as well. But we include all the gear. You just go down to our marina off the back of the ship. So we also have paddle boarding and kayaking available from our marina. We'll take you out in a Zodiac or a speedboat, and then you go right from there and you go off and you do your dive. And then again, bring you back to the marina. We take all the gear, so you don't have to schlep all your own gear or anything like that. We hold it all for you. And then, yeah, multiple dives in every single destination that we have. But it is great because of a small ship experience like this. We do get many guests that travel like this, where one person is into the dive. For myself personally, I don't dive, I'm afraid of it. But you can snorkel in French Polynesia, and you can be in the water up to your chest and see stingrays and lemon sharks and coral and all different kinds of fish as well. So more than any other destination, and the water's warm. That's the other big thing, right? So you can see all different types of things without having to dive. But we also have a great spa on board the ship, lots of activities. So The Gaugins are on board every day, and they'll do all kinds of crafts with guests. So absolutely, there's plenty of things for you to do while he's out scuba diving. And we find a lot of camaraderie with the guests as well. Then in the evening, if you want to get together and have dinner with the folks that he was diving with and the people that you were at the spa with or whatever, there's opportunity to do that as well. So I think because it's a small ship, it's very comfortable feel. You tend to see the same people, like-minded people do the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And so you tend to see the same people, and it's very easy to get to know people and meet people on board. So I think you're very comfortable. We also get singles for that reason as well, too.
Okay.
Right. Because you just feel comfortable because everything's included, right? We didn't really talk about that, but all of your dining, we have multiple dining venues that are included, all of your top shelf alcoholic beverages, non-alcoholic beverages, of course, and gratuities are included as well.
What about shore excursions? Are they additional?
Yes, and that's really the only thing. I think when you think about us as being all-inclusive, that's the only thing that we don't include. But I'll give you an idea on our dive program. So we look at our dives as same idea as a shore excursion. We start at $109 US for a one-tank dive, and there's all kinds of wall dives, night dives, just depending on your experience level, the different types of dives that you can do. Another excursion, actually what I did last time, which I loved, was a lot of fun. In Moorea, we rented e-bikes, and you pretty much have to have an electric bike because it's so steep, right? But it was about a 2.5-hour excursion. It was $65 US, and a guide that takes you follow along and do an e-bike, or tons and tons of different excursions. And then we do have the two private beach days pretty much always as well. So rarely would anyone do an excursion on those days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because everything's kind of included.
So now, anybody in Canada, the best or the only way we can now do this is we fly from Canada, the main cities, to LA or San Fran, and then the package takes over with United or Air Tahiti Nui into Papeete, and then the same would be on the return.
Right. Yeah. And then keep in mind too, we always include the transfers. So we greet you at the airport and transfer you, and day rooms as well. So let's say if you arrive at 5 a.m, which sometimes does happen just depending on the times of the flights, we take you, we greet you, we bring you to a hotel. You have a full hotel room on your own, have a beautiful day at the hotel. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we take you to the ship. Or if the flight on the way out is late in the evening, you have a full day at a hotel as well. So that's always included as well. And for guests, if you have folks that you have Aeroplan points or something, you want to go Air New Zealand through New Zealand or something like that, or do your own air, you can do that. It's always at least $1,500 US, less than the price that we have. So right now, I'm just going to look at a price because I want to make sure I tell you about price, because I talk about how we're all inclusive and we're luxurious, and I don't want people thinking we're expensive. So I'm just going to look. We start at $4,185. That's US dollars, yeah, for a Canadian. That's we have all of our dates are either 10 or 20% off for Canadians. So that includes your flight, all of your meals, your drinks, your gratuities, everything. For 7 days, and we have a few sailings in 2021 that are that price. And then from there, if you want to stay in a suite, that's an outside stateroom, or longer sailings, the prices go up from there. So $1,500 US less if you don't want to take our air.
And can you, which I think you can, but I'm going to double check this. Let's say you're in Bora Bora, it's like a 2-night stay or a 1 night. You can go up and stay in an all-water bungalow, can't you, if you wanted to do that?
Yeah, if people, sometimes as much as other people you might think maybe our competition is other cruise lines, it's really not, because we kind of more or less own this destination. It's the overwater bungalow, because people in their minds, they've seen romantic movies with the overwater bungalows, right? So if you're very limited and you only have 7 days for your vacation, instead of staying on the ship in Bora Bora, you can overnight in one of the intercontinental hotels in Bora Bora. Now, there is an additional charge for that, actually. We could check that though, Jen. I just can't remember offhand exactly what that cost is, but there's an additional charge.
And that's the thing, if people are limited in their time.
Yeah, but if not, you know what? Go do arrive maybe 2 or 3 days before, and do your overwater bungalow then. It's easier to do it that way than it is to be on the cruise and then stay in a overwater bungalow because of the cost. Tahiti is quite an expensive destination. So it's very difficult to go from this world where everything's included and all your drinks and right, everything's included, to suddenly you're paying $25 for a cocktail.
No, sense to do that. So it's just working on everybody to stay that little bit extra time and of it and look at doing it then.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome, Vicky. I really, really appreciate it. Is there anything more that you think my clients should know? Well,
I'm going to, we'll end this and I'll think of 1,000 different things that I probably should have said. Usually what ends up coming up is about weather, but people forget to ask about the weather. I would just, like to end by saying this is one of the most beautiful destinations that you can possibly imagine. Tahiti in a year gets the same amount of tourists as Hawaii does in just 7 days. It's a beautiful, unspoiled, life-changing paradise. And I encourage people to come and enjoy sailing with us on board the Gaugin.
Thank you. All right, everybody, I'm going to end it there. Start thinking about it. If you're not comfortable with this year and the quarantine, maybe next year. Well, not maybe, definitely next year. So start, as we get into the cold weather, start thinking about it, because I already am. I might do it. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll have another conversation again soon. Bye for now.
You too. Thanks. It's a pleasure.